You might think that the title is clickbait, but it's not. That is if I haven't changed it. Well, I was able to upgrade to a brand new ASUS TUF 3080 Ti OC from a year-old RTX 3080 FE thanks to the crypto mining culture, as the 3080 FE was a high hash rate card and nothing matters more to miners than those spiky, yummy hash rates. Hey everyone, Mukul here. So yeah, I don't mind at all, and seeing a free upgrade in terms of performance and more warranty in years, well, all of that tempted me in this deal. If you're in my shoes and if you also don't mind at all, then I think it's a fair deal if you are getting a brand new GPU with brand new invoice and brand new warranty, and you are also getting some sort of performance boost with the upgrade. So yeah, it would be very hard for anyone to say no to such a deal. There is a strong fan base for the TUF and Strix series cards from ASUS among PC builders, and I just wanted to use this opportunity without spending a dime and see what the fuss is all about. I bought the RTX 3080 FE at its MSRP here, and I definitely consider myself lucky that I was able to get one. The price difference between what I paid for the 3080 FE versus the TUF 3080 Ti OC edition is insane, and is something I can never imagine to just go out and buy. So anyway, in terms of the differences on paper, the 3080 Ti has roughly 20% more CUDA cores, memory and memory bandwidth, but with just 10% more power consumption, at least on this variant of the 3080 Ti I have. So it should cost 20% more than the RTX 3082, but Nvidia was like, let's enjoy the mining season, and so they posted the 3080 Ti's MSRP 70% higher than the RTX 3080. Now I do believe no one at Nvidia is that bad at math, so yeah, this was purely a business hungry decision for sure. Yeah, look at me blaming corporations for doing business for profit. The card is almost 30 cm long and covers about 2.7 slots. In terms of design, it's pretty decent and goes with the design language of other TUF series stuff ASUS makes. There are 3 display ports and 2 HDMI ports at the back with these nifty rubber caps to save the slots from gathering dust. The backplate looks nice and stealthy, and I dig how they make this array of capacitors and the metal bracket around it look pretty nice. The card uses 2 8-pin connectors for powering it on, and the recommended power supply is 850 watts. But I do believe that if you have a good 750 watt or 800 watt power supply, then that power supply should also be able to manage this card very easily. But you have to make sure you don't daisy chain the connection and use 2 separate connectors from the power supply to the card. There are a couple of RGB elements too on the card, which are the TUF logo and the vertical line above the printed TUF gaming text. Well, it's actually good that the RGB element shows on the side of the card and the fans have no RGB on them, as most of the people anyway don't vertically mount their GPUs. The card does sag a little, so any kind of support will be good for it. Yeah, not so tough anymore, huh? There's also a tiny little switch on the backplate to make the card fans run at either performance or quiet mode. I will share their differences in the video ahead. Yeah, I will. Installing the card with my stock power supply cables kinda degraded the overall look of the card. So this is where I would share about these custom sleeved cables by SenseiMod. Make sure to check them out and their sweet looking website. Now the ASUS TUF series cards are quite famous for their temperature and silent performance, and that's what I specifically wanted to test. But before all that, here are some quick productivity benchmarks. In the Blender CUDA benchmark test, the 3080 Ti roughly performs 15 to 20% faster than the Galax RTX 3080, which was a 10 GB model that I tested and reviewed some time back. In the Blender optics test, it again performs roughly 15 to 20% faster than the RTX 3080. But in the V-Ray 4.1 benchmark, the 3080 Ti performs about 25% better than the RTX 3080, but even this can't justify the price difference the card has. In one of my keyshot scenes, the 3080 Ti also performs roughly 20% better than the 3080 in the GPU rendering. I didn't test many games, as a lot of reviewers have already done that, but running the benchmark of Shadow of the Tomb Raider at highest settings with DLSS RTX turned on, well, it returned an average FPS of 111. And running the Godfall benchmark at epic settings returned an average FPS of 127. TimeSpy also returned a 12% better result as compared to the RTX 3080. Now about the curious case of this quiet and performance switch, which is on the card. Well, there was absolutely no difference in terms of power consumptions and the RPMs at which the fans ran in both the keyshot rendering test and the Shadow of the Tomb Raider benchmark test that I ran on both the modes. In fact, in both the quiet and performance mode, the Shadow of the Tomb Raider benchmark and the Godfall benchmark returned almost similar results too. And I'm sure, well, at least my ears are sure, that there was no difference in even the noise produced by all the three fans when I tested both the modes during a Firmark stress test. Now I'm sure, as it's pretty cold here and the ambient temperature was always around 20 degrees Celsius, that these loads actually never pushed the card to reach a thermal limit wherein it has to introduce any sort of restrictions on any of these two modes. But as per my ultra Google research and as claimed by some of these guys on various forums, the quiet mode really doesn't depreciate the performance much and is really quiet. I mean, I have to just take their word. But I don't effing care. I mean, I paid for the whole thing. Wait, I didn't. But you will. So I am okay even if it makes a slightly louder sound at full load. But audibly, the 3 fans even at 3000 RPM made an acceptable sound overall. The GPU temperature ranged around 67 degrees Celsius when I stress tested it with Firmark for about 20 minutes at 1440p resolution and when the card fans were set to auto. But the GPU memory junction temperature did reach up to 98 degrees Celsius even when the room was quite cold at 20 degrees. Yeah, that's kind of cold for us. So then I ramped up all the fans manually to their full speed, which is 3000 RPM, and this did bring their junction temperatures down by almost 10 degrees. And the GPU temperatures also went down by about 4 to 5 degrees. Now, as stated earlier, my room temperature was at 20 degrees Celsius at the time of testing the card, and if my city ever decides to get super hot, which it eventually will, and reach 45 degrees Celsius, and for some weird reason I decide to game in a room with no air conditioning, then I would definitely see some crazy spikes in memory junction max temperatures, and so this will definitely thermal throttle the performance of the card. Right now in winters, the 80 to 90 degrees junction temperature mark is okay, but in summers the 3080 Ti's hot memory chips will scream to be inside a cool, air-conditioned room only, which my cat won't like, but the graphic card will. So yeah, hard choices. Igor's lab states that the GDDR6X memory thermal limit is between 105 to 110 degrees Celsius till it introduces thermal throttling. So yeah, just keep that in mind if you plan to throw an intense game or any other heavy workload on these heavy weightlifting GPUs inside a hot room. I mean, now they should seriously start printing room temperature requirements on the boxes of these graphic cards. So I guess I have covered enough about a card which not many can afford right now, including me. And the occurrence of me getting extremely lucky with this upgrade is something which I guess might not ever happen, but fingers crossed. You can hop onto our Discord server for more chit chat on relevant content. Stay safe, humans. That's all for today. Mewbot out. I guess right now, due to all these lights, the room temperature is definitely above 25 or 30 degrees Celsius even.